at 12,190 odd levels, closer to that 12,200 mark. As far as Nifty and Sensex are concerned, they are showing some weakness, but when it comes to the mid-cap universe, that is showing some resilience. It has come down, but still flattish to green at the moment. Bank Nifty, that is also in tandem. In fact, talking about banks, it's the talking point of the day in the markets, especially after a slew of results and the data points that the market is picking up and also putting into perspective when it comes to the macroeconomic situation of the country. And therefore, if you look at HDFC Bank, which is the biggest dragger in the market today, and also HDFC Limited is the one which is providing support on the flip side. But Kotak Mahindra Bank is something that is a point of worry for the markets as well. When it comes to one stock which is on my radar at the moment, Bharti Infratel, that is really zooming in trade today at this point, Sonia.
Absolutely, Nisha. So as you rightly pointed out, the Bank Nifty is still under a bit of pressure because now you have not one, not two, but all three banks that have reported a slowdown in growth, right? IndusInd, HDFC and Kotak Mahindra Bank. And tomorrow you have Axis Bank's numbers. There is ICICI Bank that comes out on Saturday. So definitely there's this wave of caution that you're seeing across most of the banks as we head into the earnings. Having said that, many of them are seeing buying on dip. So ICICI Bank has been holding in quite tall despite the concerns ahead of its earnings. So we'll keep that in mind. But talking about financials then, the big one to watch in the broader markets is Can Fin Homes. It's been one of the strongest stocks, surging higher after a stellar Q3 performance. Its disbursements grew 12% year-on-year, which is the strongest sequential growth ever that the company has seen. Abhishek is here to tell us more. Abhishek.
Well, the numbers were pretty strong, for an HFC of that size, having a strong liquidity position of almost 4,000 crore plus as on December 19 speaks for itself. So disbursement picked up really well. Even on quarter-on-quarter basis, the disbursements have grown by 11%, which is a very strong number. The AUM growth, however, was slightly on the weaker side, a tad bit below 15% YOY and about 3% quarter-on-quarter. However, the net interest margin is at 7-quarter high of 3.42%. In my view, this would have come in from the repricing of lending rates, both from banks as well as NHB, and the repricing has been on the lower side. The asset quality of the companies remains stable at 0.8 versus 0.79 quarter-on-quarter. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Abhishek, for getting us all those details. But Kotak Mahindra Bank, that is on my radar today because of important development. And that particular bank disappoints the street with its Q3 results and the loan growth misestimate, and the asset quality also deteriorated, following which a number of brokerages have really cut the target for the bank. Uday Kotak, the MD and CEO of the bank, in the con call says that they are moving towards a more healthier quarter going forward.
In this context, economy currently is growing at or below 5% GDP growth rates, and we believe that this is gradually stabilizing and would move to a real run rate of around 6% in the next 12 to 24 months time frame. Nominal growth of the economy, which is relevant for our business, which is currently in the range of 6 to 7% nominal growth, we believe will move and stabilize to a 10 to 11% nominal GDP growth. We believe we have an ability to grow at 1.5 to 2x nominal GDP, depending on the situation of the economy. Our credit costs for 9 months are 67 basis points, which is consistent with our view on credit costs for the year of being in the 60s. We maintain this view of credit costs for the full year to be in the 60s. We have seen some moderation in growth compared to what we felt at the end of the September quarter. And at this stage, if we have to give a guidance for the year, we would say that it would be less than the mid-teens, but in double digit. I think this is a year where we do believe that the basic theory of moving towards the system which is cleansing, consolidating, and getting fitter is the game which will play out.
All right, that's the word coming in from Uday Kotak. But the key takeaway is that the loan growth for Kotak Mahindra Bank came in at a 14-quarter low. this quarter around. But the other bank that's surging today is Federal Bank. Despite reporting a Q3 miss, the loan growth and net interest margins are at an all-time low, whereas the absolute slippages are the highest in the last 7 quarters. We spoke with Shyam Srinivasan, the MD and the CEO, earlier today, and he does not expect any large formation of stress in the next 3 to 4 quarters. In fact, he was quite positive as we head into the next few quarters, and that's the reason the stock spiked up post the interview as well. Listen in.
Between now and the next 3-4 quarters, which is the maximum line of sight you can have, we don't see any large formation of any stress on the secured side, unless there's a sort of a underlying property prices all crash, and then that becomes a different problem. But I am hopeful that that doesn't show up. Are there some wrinkles? Yes, but nothing of the scale that would worry us. The loan growth, at this juncture, retail is looking north of 24-25. The large tickets, it's okay, but I don't think it will grow in the high teens. So the blended number for us, this as an exit FY20, we may do between 14 to 15%. If you're lucky, 16. I'm saying the next year will be in the similar 16-17%, dominated by retail and the granular, micro, small kind of business. Corporates will be chunky and sort of episodic. I don't see any big opportunity other than takeover.
All right, staying with the earnings then, and let's look at Zee Entertainment. In fact, that particular stock is up almost 4% in trade today, just ahead of their Q3 numbers, which are going to be announced soon. Also, remember, this is the first quarterly result after the promoters have really taken care of the debt situation and the pledge share situation. So time and energy of the management is not being deployed on that from here on. Our colleague Nupur joins us with the expectations from the results this time around. Nupur.
Well, now the pledge concerns are over for Zee Entertainment, so the full focus will be on fundamental performance for the company. Do remember, the industry is already under pressure due to slowdown in economy as well as new tariff order related disruptions. So the street is expecting a disappointing Q3 for the company. CNBC TV18 poll estimates revenue to decline by 4% and operating profit to fall by 21%. Also, increase in content cost will have an impact on margins, which is likely to fall below the level of 30% at just 28%. Furthermore, ad revenue will continue to remain under pressure, and now 12 to 14% fall in growth is expected, while subscription revenue is likely to inch up by 16 to 19% on higher realizations. So it will be important to watch out for management comments on future outlook as well as any impact related to new amendments to tariff order released by TRAI. Do remember, the stock has lost close to 40% in 2019, trades at 50% discount to its historical valuations at just 12 times FY21 expected earnings. So all in all, weak Q3 is expected for Zee Entertainment. Back to you.
All right, week Q3 expected for Zee Entertainment. That stock has been up and about today, but the expectation is that the numbers will be weak. As we slip into a break, here's a quick programming reminder. As the countdown to the budget begins in our Money, Money, Money contest, we ask you 5 questions, and the last